All right, guys. So in this video, I'm going to do a full breakdown, step-by-step guide on the three-way system. And if you have no idea what it is, don't worry. In this video, you will know all about it and how you can use it. And also how, Muslims in the West right now. And why I'm saying Muslims in the West is because you see that there is a war going on against Islam, especially in the West, where it is very hard to practice your deen. You have a busy schedule. You live in a non-Muslim country, and you also see a lot of Muslims living in the West. They are not taking care of their health even. So they are out of shape physically, spiritually, and mentally. So this is a thing we need to fix. And with this three-way system, you will see how it can help you if you are suffering from this, and also how it have helped hundreds of Muslims living in the West, getting rid of their belly fat, praying all 5 prayers on time, reading Quran every day with just simple steps, like really simple steps. Like it doesn't even require a proper workout plan. It doesn't require a proper diet plan. Nothing like this. It's so simple that anyone can do it. And you see people, they lose weight like nothing else. Like one of the pictures here, you see Mohammed from Canada. He lost 10 kilos of his belly fat in his first 2 months using this system. So let's get down to it. And the first thing I want to talk about is Hadith Jibreel. And why I want to talk about this is because, when I became a Muslim 7 years ago, guys, one of the first hadith I've heard was Hadith Jibreel. And it absolutely blew my mind. I'm sure you've heard it. And if you haven't heard it, let me tell you about it. It's a very long hadith. It has a lot of prophecies that has come true. Like just this hadith alone proves that Islam is the truth and that Prophet ﷺ, he was a true prophet, right? So why I want to start with this is because I don't want to take credit for something I haven't done, right? The three-way system is actually directly connected to this hadith. So this hadith starts off with the Prophet ﷺ sitting with his companions, and then they were greeted by a man that no one recognized, no one, back in those days when you didn't know anyone from your own, place, he has to have travel. But the problem with this guy was he didn't have any sign of travel. Like his clothes were sparkling clean, right? And this was actually Jibreel alayhi salam in the shape of a human being, a man. So he came, interrupted, their discussion, the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, and he asked the Prophet ﷺ very important questions. The first 3 questions he asked was, what is Islam? And the Prophet ﷺ, he continued to explain the 5 pillars of Islam. You all know it, right? The Shahada, the prayer and all that, right? And then he asked the Prophet ﷺ, okay, what about faith, Iman? So the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned the 6 pillars of Iman, that you need to believe in Allah, you need to believe in his angels, the books, the prophets, And then he asked the Prophet ﷺ about ihsan. What is ihsan? And then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, I put the text here, ihsan, which is the highest level you can achieve as a Muslim, to be a muhsin. Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see him. For if you do not see him, he surely sees you. So this is the highest level of accountability, being responsible of every single second of your life, if you manage to really manifest ihsan in your life. But the question is, how and what and why is this connected to the three-way system? Let me tell you about this, guys. This is going to blow your mind. So remember, he mentioned Islam and he mentioned Iman and then ihsan. But if you translate this, and not only focusing on the religious part, what is Islam? Well, Islam is basically a system of habits, right? Habit system, something we do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly, yearly basis. So Islam already have a set of habits that you are supposed to do as a Muslim. Some of them, they are obligatory. Some of them are recommendation. Nevertheless, they are habits that you do. The more you do them, the more you follow the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ, his Sunnah, the closer you get to Allah, right? So it's a habit system that you start off with that. And then you implement the mindset system, Iman. What is Iman if you look at it? Iman is the way you believe in Allah, in his angels, the revelations, everything, the perception of reality. And if you fix this, your reality will change tremendously. And I can testify to this because before I was not a Muslim, I was an atheist. So I didn't have Iman at all, right? And then as soon as Iman entered my heart, it was like I was entering another reality, a new world. Very hard to explain, but this is a part of a mindset shift that you do as a Muslim. So you need a system for your mindset. And then lastly, you need a system for accountability, which the Prophet ﷺ mentioned about ihsan. You need to be accountable every single second of your life. So if you implement this, imagine like you have hard time losing weight. Okay, you need habits that are going to help you to lose weight. You need a proper mindset, like a proper Muslim mindset. You need to have tawakkul. You need to have sabr, patience. You need to be thankful. All of these different characteristics as a Muslim will be a part of your mindset. Because, okay, you can basically, okay, let's say you have a meal. And this is why many people, they have a huge problem with this. They follow a meal plan, a workout plan, and they don't seem to lose weight. Or they seem to lose weight, but not consistently. Why? Because they give up or they get lazy or whatever, right? And the issue is really they have not implemented a proper mindset. So that's why it doesn't really matter what kind of diet plan or, workout plan you have. Because if you're not consistent with it, it won't help you. And then it comes to the next step because, okay, you can have the habits you need. You can have the right mindset, but we all know that we are our own worst enemies, right? Are you going to keep yourself accountable? But what if it's a Friday night, you're fatigued from work, you're so tired, exhausted, right? And you just want to munch a bunch of sweets and chocolate, right? Are you really do you really believe that you will be able to hold yourself accountable in those moments? Probably not, right? And this is also something we see in Islam. You're not supposed to be alone in this religion. That's why Islam emphasizes so much on creating a community, creating relationships with like-minded people, people that are going to make you into a better Muslim. It's crucial for you. In order to change your life, you need to change your environment or make sure you have an environment that will help you become better. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, there is an issue with this system because what I'm showing you right here, it shows us what we need to do, right? You need to have a habit system, a mindset system, accountability system in this way, right? But how? How can you implement this? Making sure that you get in shape, lose all of that belly fat, or even gain weight and muscles if that's your goal. And also making sure that you become a better Muslim and implementing habits such as praying all the 5 prayers on time, reading Quran every day, making dhikr, all these things that will bring you closer to Allah and increase your iman. And at the end of the day, will make you more confident, happier, and much better, right? For yourself and for your surrounding, because you can become a role model for your family, your kids, your friends. And that would make the society into a better place, inevitably. So what I do to really implement this 3-way system is there are 4 steps I like to follow. I do it for myself and I do it for everyone else. So let's find out if these 4 steps is something that actually going to help you, right? So let's start with the first one. You need to start with the nutrition. Why is that? Why do we start with the nutrition? Because there's a very important hadith, and I'm going to connect this with what we are seeing in the world. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, the son of Adam does not fill any vessel worse than his stomach. And did you know that more people today are dying because of obesity rather than starvation? Like there are more people dying because they eat too much, more than people starving. I mean, that is insane. And if you look at the top 3 diseases, most common diseases and conditions in the world, they are in majority of cases connected to dietary problems. You got diabetes, right? You got heart diseases, you got strokes, you got cancers, different type of cancers that are, in many cases connected to how we are eating today. Because a lot of these things we see today did not exist a couple 100 years back. So what changed? Well, the diet changed, and not to the better, right? Especially in the Western world. You need to make sure you are fueling your body with nutrition it needs. You can have a Ferrari, in front of your house, brand new. But if you don't have fuel in that car, it won't go anywhere. And sure, you can put water in it, you can put milk, you can put all these things, different liquids. It probably just will mess up the car, right? So you need to put the right fuel in the car. So make sure to fix your nutrition. That's the number one thing. You're not giving the body the nutrition it needs. You need to start off there, right? So how do we do this? Well, I talk always about the 4 different strategies. You use one of them, right? So you can track everything you're eating with different ways. I use my own app, the Stronger Muslim app. It has a tracking system. I put the screenshot here. You can use different apps as well. You have MyFitnessPal, you have LifeSum and all that. You can use meal plans and a bunch of ways you can create your own meal plan. There is one in the Stronger Muslim app, but you can find you can even ask ChatGPT, guys. Like I've tried it. You can ask ChatGPT to create a meal plan for you and it will be pretty accurate, right? The third way you can do it is to look at your portions. So you don't have to look at what you eat or track it, but just how much you eat, right? My recommendation for you, if you want to get started with this, the portion related strategy is if you want to gain weight, make sure that you double the protein and double the carbs that you eat. If you want to lose weight, then you do a little bit different. You want to double the protein because that's going to help you feel much fuller. A lot of you guys don't eat enough protein. And then the second thing is to eat half of the carbs. So what I mean by this, if you have a plate in front of you with chicken and rice, if you want to gain weight, you got to double the rice, double the chicken, right? To make sure you're eating enough. And if you want to lose weight, you double the chicken and you half the rice. So you eat half of the portion of rice that you usually eat. And this is something you can do with all the different meals during the day. This is a very simple way to get started. And then we got time and we got Sunnah fasting, intermittent fasting, all that. What you need to make sure is just follow a way. It doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be implemented consistently, right? And we're going to get to that, how you're going to do it consistently. So that's the nutrition. The second step is to make sure you're physically active on a daily basis. I never look at, when someone comes to me and want to get started, I never look at a workout plan initially. It doesn't really matter what kind of workout plan you do. Because if you cannot be consistent or consistently active on a daily basis, I can give you the best plan in the world and it won't help you. So that's why I have a little trick here or a little hack called the Plan ABC. So this means that you have 3 different plans, but they are designed to make sure you're active on a daily basis. So you have Plan A, which is the most optimal plan. I'll give you some example. And then you have Plan B. If you're not doing Plan A, you go to Plan B. So you go down every step. So it can be a less optimal plan, but it makes sure you're active. And then you have Plan C, which is like the bare minimum you got to do. So let's take a look at an example here. So for example, you could be someone that has a gym membership. So Plan A could be a 20-minute gym workout. And why I say 20 minutes? Like people talk about hours, right? Because we're not looking at the duration. We're not looking at optimizing the plan or anything. We're just looking at making sure you're consistent, right? That's the number one thing. Because if you are out of shape physically and spiritually, I am 100% sure that you are struggling with consistency in one way or another, right? Maybe you can do something for a week, for a month or 2 months. Are you able to do that thing for years, year after year? I doubt it, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have these issues. So the Plan A is the most optimal plan that you can do in this case, right? And this might mean that you off work or you have time, you have energy, but there are going to be days, right? There are going to be days you don't have energy. So that's why you have Plan B. You might have been working overtime. You're very tired. The kids might have done a mess. Okay, at least you can do a 5-minute workout at home, right? You don't have to go anywhere. 5 minutes, just put the timer and do some workout, right? If you cannot even do that, you cannot do Plan A, you cannot do Plan B, you gotta at least do something. For example, you can do 20 push-ups or 20 sit-ups. Just do something. It can even be incorporated in your day. Let's say you live in an apartment building. Instead of taking the elevator, you take the stairs, right? At least once during that day. Then you know that, all right, at least today I have been active. I've done at least one of these plans. And the goal is the only goal you have to do is to make sure you're doing one of them. That's it. Don't focus on creating the best workout plan ever. If you can do this for at least 3 months, then we can start looking at, okay, now we can look at the workout plan. How can we make it better? How can you become stronger in this exercise? How can you start doing push-ups properly? You know what I mean, right? So that's the first thing you got to do. And obviously I use my Stronger Muslim app. There are a bunch of other apps you can use. Just Google, if you want a workout plan, just Google pre-workout plans. Again, it doesn't matter about the plan is not the importance here. The importance here is to be consistent. So the third step is highly related to everything I've talked about up until now. And that is to create habits, but not any habits. I call them 1% habits. They should be so small that you feel almost stupid not doing them. And this is also a part of the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned that in a hadith that the best deeds, in another narration, he even says that the most beloved deeds to Allah, right? So the best deeds, the most beloved deeds to Allah, what are they? They are those that are done regularly, consistently, even if they're few. So you don't look at the quantity. You don't look at the quality. You just look at the frequency. Are you doing it every day? That's why you see the prayer, right? You got to pray like 5 times a day. You got to pray. Like, it doesn't matter if you're tired, if you're sick, like if you cannot stand up, you sit down. If you cannot sit down, you lie down. There's always flexibility in making sure you are consistent with the worship. And no, it's not a coincidence that it's made like this, that our religion is made like this, because we humans have deficiencies, imperfections. Allah knows all about them because He created us. So He made sure that the religion of Islam has principles that is suitable for the human nature, our imperfections, our, deficiency, our mistakes, and make sure that we have a way to always fix these issues with the tools needed, right? So 1% habits is exactly that. I can give you a few examples. Let's say you want to read the Quran. The number one mistake is, I hear people say, I want to read 5 pages of the Quran every day, or 10 pages, even one juz. Do they do that every day? Probably not, right? So instead, break it down to the smallest component, which could be read 1 ayah per day. You think like, what? Just 1 ayah? That's nothing. Exactly. But that's not the important thing here. What's the best deed? What's the most beloved deed to Allah? Those that are done regularly. So aren't you able to read at least 1 ayah per day? Like you got, Qul huwa Allahu ahad. That's 1 ayah. Ar-Rahman. That's 1 ayah. Wad-duha. That's 1 ayah. Like, if you come with the excuse that you cannot even do that, you are fooling yourself. You are only fooling yourself. Let's give an example for the diet. Instead of focusing on all meals during the day, focus on 1 meal. Make sure that you always eat healthy during lunch or, during breakfast or dinner or whatever that might be. And all the other meals, they can be crazy, but just focus on that. And when you become consistent with that, then you can go to another meal. Same with the prayer. I see so many people, they try to, you should pray all 5 prayers on time, right? If you struggle with that, focus on 1 prayer. Make sure that you fix that prayer. Let's say Fajr, you kind of wake up for Fajr. Okay, start with praying Fajr on time. And once you do that, it's going to be much easier to pray Dhuhr on time, Asr on time. So you take 1 step at a time. That's the 1% habit. Don't do everything at once. Follow the Sunnah, break it down into small steps so that you can do it regularly, because that is the best deed. That is what Allah loves. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned it himself. So what is the last step? Could you make a guess? Accountability. Okay. So you need to have accountability. I like to look at accountability on different levels. So either you could have it accountability on a daily basis or on a weekly basis in different ways. So let's look at the daily accountability. How could you implement that? Well, first, you need to have daily accountability with your habits, the habits you do on a daily basis. Make sure that you have someone to follow up with you. You cannot, again, guys, you cannot be the only one holding yourself accountable, right? You cannot. Otherwise, you wouldn't even watch this video because it wouldn't be an issue in the first place, right? And I'm going to be honest, I have issues with this as well. This is the human nature. We cannot hold ourselves accountable all the time. So have someone to keep you accountable. If you have a coach, that's great. If you're part of my program, you already have that. But it can be a friend. It can be a partner. Just make sure to have a system that you follow the habits. Maybe an app or something. I have it in my app, like with the list. So I can see every day what my clients are doing. And if they're not doing it, right? And I will reach out to them. So you should have someone like that. And not only that, you need to have not only someone checking on you, like if you're doing the habits, but like talking with you, conversation, following up with you, daily messages, like how are you doing? How are you feeling today? Are you stressed? Let's talk about it, right? To actually have someone that is like a friend to you in this journey, that is with you in this journey. It's not, so you don't feel alone. That's the worst thing you can, you should not feel alone doing this. You should have someone, right? And this is what I do. I send messages every day to all of my clients. It doesn't matter, what time it is. I need to make sure I take a look at what they're doing, how they're feeling, if there are any issues. So make sure you have someone that can do that for you. That are the daily accountability strategies, right? What about the weekly ones? There are many things we can do here. So what I like to do is to do something I call like a holistic check-in. So it's like really taking a look in and looking at yourself, going into yourself and reflecting. How am I feeling? So for example, in my app, every week on Monday, my clients go through a couple of questions. They rate themselves from 1 to 10 on how much stress they are experiencing, the sleep quality, the hunger, the iman, the energy, mental well-being. All of these things are going to tell us if something is off track, if something is wrong. All of these things are basically like if you go and listen to your body, Allah has put alarm clocks in your body. If you're stressed for a longer period of time, like you got to expect that something is going to become serious, like something wrong is going to happen. You cannot expect that you're going to be, like you can experience like high levels of stress and nothing's going to happen. That's not how it works. You need to take care of yourself. And Allah put these things in place in our body, biologically, physiologically, so that we can understand when, okay, now something is, I'm going to the wrong way here. I need to fix the course and, fix my stress. Take it easy. I need to sleep better. I need to eat better, whatever that might be, right? So have some kind of check-in every week. Create those questions. Like ask yourself, how's my energy been the last week? How's my iman been? And all these questions going to make you realize what you need to start fixing. And then what I like to do is have like a weekly mentor talk. And I say mentor talks because this is what I do with my clients. Like every week I talk with them to go through everything. Sometimes you just need to have a certain amount of time allocated where you can talk about yourself, talk about how you're feeling and have some kind of support in it and really strategize. And what this is going to do for you is going to help you to see things in your life more objectively. Because why we cannot hold ourselves accountable is because we are living our own life. We are in our own bubble. We feel things. We are subjectively, attached to our own lives. But someone outside is not as attached. Even if it's your partner, they will be able to see things more objectively and say like, hey, like, I know you're feeling really bad right now. Maybe you didn't lose weight this week, but it doesn't matter. Like you're in this for the long run, aren't you? Yeah. So focus on what you need to fix right now. Maybe you've been snacking too much. Let's find out how we can fix that next week. You know what I mean? Like having that kind of talk with someone else is going to help your mindset and help to transform your negativity into positivity, right? So you need to have someone you can talk with at least once a week. It can be a therapist, it can be a friend or even a coach, right? So that is basically the whole breakdown of the three-way system and how Muslims right now in the West, hundreds of Muslims right now are using this system in order to get in shape once and for all in their life and regaining confidence and becoming more powerful in their life, controlling their life instead of their lives controlling them, like becoming independent, stronger, healthier, and getting closer to Allah. Like it's very simple. I know it's very simple on paper, but you need to really make sure you're doing everything you can in this. We only got one chance at this dunya. And when we die, that's it. We gotta regret all the things we didn't do, guys. One last thing before we wrap it up. If you watch the whole video and you feel like, all right, Simon, I really want to do this three-way system. How can I do it? Like, how can I work with you? I don't have anyone I can work with. No one comes into my mind. I know there are some people out there. Let's talk about it. I made this video for everyone, but I cannot work with everyone, obviously. So let's find out if we could work together. So in the description of this video, I have put a link to a form where you can just type out your details, your goals and everything. I will take a closer look at it. And then I will send you a message to talk a little bit about your goals and how I could help you, right? If I can help you. So just make sure that the WhatsApp number you put there is actually working because some people, they just put random numbers. Don't do that. Otherwise, I cannot reach out to you. So yeah, that's everything for this video. So I hope you benefited, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you for watching.